Download the BCSN Plus app today. Local sports all the time. Visit bcsnnation.com for details. Discounts may apply.
All right, so we talked about the girls' side of things as far as our BCSN postseason honors for soccer, but now it's time to talk about the guys. And it may have been even harder to come up with the starting 11.
Man, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. And I mean, again, a lot of these guys this year, I mean, there were so many great moments on the guys' side. I apologize, everybody, Ottawa Hills, for probably what I said a couple weeks back when I said, listen, man, they got down to Columbus. They were a finalist, runner-up. They got a trophy back. It's just, it's hard for them to get over that mountain of Summit Country Day School, which probably could have won it in Division III, could have won it in Division IV. They won it in Division V, and they probably could have challenged Division II as well, too, as good as a program as they are. But it was a big year for the Green Bears this year. They got it going at the right time of the year, and that was the most important piece. But this 11,
yeah, let's take a look.
Buddy,
let's take a look at the boys soccer starting 11. I mean, Cal Mortis is obvious at the top, but I look at this midfield. And when you think about the most creative players in the midfield in all of Ohio, it starts with Noah Preciado, Aiden Sloan, and Drew Puckett. But that's not an easy top three to get to.
It wasn't. And I'll say this. That could have went either way.
Yep.
You know, you could have moved some pieces in there in a lot of things. You know, Chase John Sum in there as well, too. You know, if you really look at the fluidity of those players, those guys are very, very dangerous. Aiden Sloan last year was the Cardinal Division Player of the Year, you know, first team All-District. Drew Puckett was an All-District player last year, was a Division II District player this year. Preciado was definitely a big-time player for his team, NBC Player of the Year, All-District player as well, too. That midfield can do it in so many ways, but I'm going to talk about what's going to happen up front, because if I have that up front.
You're scoring. I mean, Kyle Mortis, he already takes the top off, but the speed, him up top as striker with Braden Heitmeyer on the left, forget about it. And Noah Preciado feeding them, knowing that he can create his own shot as well. I mean, I'm just trying to draw it up.
The big piece is this: everything can be inside out because you got so much skill there. I mean, we obviously talk about Mortis. We know what Heitmeyer did. Heitmeyer scored probably the best goal of the season, hands
against
down.
Anthony Wayne.
There's no doubt about it. But, you know, Louis Snelling, I mean, he's a kid that's been under the radar. Underrated. You know, and really was a big piece of what Dave Scozens' Maumee Valley Country Day School Hawks could really do this year, was being able to put himself in, you know, winning spots. And if you look at this 11, a lot of winners on this list, a lot of guys who know how to win and get it done. On that back line, obviously Jackson Babu, phenomenal year that he had for the Titans this year. I really like it. And really, to be fair, I think if he plays to the next level, he's definitely going to be a player that will be more of a flank player, just with his ability, with his speed and his touch in there. Jaden Dubois was a phenomenal center back this year. I know he had a knock in that state championship game, but he played right through it. But one of the most consistent guys. I've watched Ottawa Hills play quite a bit this year, and very, very consistent. Johnny on the spot every time. Evan Keller was just super solid for Coach John Sums, Perrysburg Yellow Jackets. And the one thing I will say about this, he kept the big boys from St. Ignatius out of that box in that regional
final. It was only a 1-0 win. It was only a 1-0 win.
Hey, listen, and then they ended up losing in penalty kicks on Monday night to Dublin Jerome. But Evan Keller stood on it. He stood on all 10 in that game.
Stood on business.
He did. And I mean, and really was a very big anchor of that back line and why that Perrysburg team was so successful, why they got to where they're at. Obviously, Daniel Seth was a phenomenal goalkeeper just as a sophomore. Coach likes to play those sophomore guys, and they're going to be there. By the time they're seniors, like, I thought this dude graduated last year. Nah, man, he was only a junior last year, so he's going to be a junior next year. But again, Evan Keller was really big. And Isaac Stakoviak, there's something that I really like about this kid. A natural lefty, likes to really cut in and get involved in that attack. I've seen that cute. The dude unleashed some bombs this year that just hit the post. And, I mean, I was at a game when they played Southie and they lost 2-1. I mean, he absolutely pounded a ball from about 30 out, and I was like, that's just a shame. If the goal was 9 feet tall, it's in the back of the net. But Isaac Stakoviak was a very big piece of that. And if you look at that reserve list, again, it's hard.
It's loaded. You know, any one of those guys could have been in the starting 11 easily.
Absolutely. And then the goalkeeper, Joel Neri,
that must have been a hard one.
That was a tough one.
Because you had Andrew Smith leading the Southview team. We know the type of performances the Cougars put up. Of course, shutting out Springfield a few weeks ago before the postseason started. I mean, you had options on top of options when it came to goalkeeper.
Well, what I will say about Joel Neri is he's really elevated. And we have to talk about his first 2 years when he was at St. Francis, Ben Baker was kind of the guy. And, they had to split some time. He announced himself in that great penalty shootout as a freshman when Ben Baker went out due to injury and really stood on his head in that game, saved 3 really crucial penalties in that penalty shootout. He had a fantastic year this year for the Knights, and again, they play a really, really difficult schedule. I mean, I saw a couple games. I mean, there was a couple games this year that I caught, especially that De La Salle team. That De La Salle team won a state title in Division II up in the state of Michigan. He made a couple worldly saves in that match there. He's so technical. He plays like he's 6'5", and he's only probably about 5'10", and he's got some Division I schools that are really looking right now. I mean, I know the biggest thing in that position at the D1 level, you want to look at size, you want to look at the width and things of that nature like that. Joel puts himself in really, really good spots. He's got really good reaction time. He can really get up in the air as well, too, and he's getting stronger as the years go by. I remember this guy when he was like in 6th grade coming to like my soccer camps, and I was like, man, he's on the shorter end here. Hopefully he's going to stretch out, but you know what? He's got that heart that you need to command a box. Super technical, really gets the attack going for St. Francis out of the back. Joel Neary was definitely going to be my pick for that.
It's just unreal talent you have here. And I think about all the moments that this group gave us. Noah Preciado going off against Napoleon, 2 world-class goals. You have Cal Mortis at the top there. That game winner against Southview will be remembered forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, we're in the newsroom. I screamed after that. I mean, I wasn't rooting for a team, but it's just the moment, the magnitude of it, for Springfield to come back from down 1-0, 2 straight goals, 1 in overtime to win it. I mean, this group is just absolutely loaded.
It is a really loaded group. And again, you got some guys there, the reserve guys that really in hindsight theory could have been in those positions. But you have to look at the body of work of some of these guys as well, too. And I think the biggest thing for me is some of these guys on that list that didn't make it are all going to be back. And some of those guys that also didn't make the list, that's no knock on them. They're still fantastic players. They had great years. And I think the biggest piece you have to take it from this is, this list right here, that means you're some of the best players in Northwest Ohio. You're the best that we have to offer, and they had great years for their teams and things like that. But, again, it was really, really tough. And again, you got to step on some toes sometimes. The media guys don't sometimes get it right. I've seen that before. I think we've all learned that lesson. But
you've made it to a couple Final Fours. You do a lot of things right.
Something. Yeah, not just I didn't get to a championship.
That is true. But I'm not giving out a participation trophy. But a loaded starting 11. Yes. Who gets your boys soccer Player of the Year honor?
Yeah, that was kind of simple. And I think we all kind of know. It was Kyle Mortis. Yeah. The story of this young man, let's talk about a year ago what he did. He had 10 goals last year. 10. Quadrupled that
number.
He
had 10 goals.
10 goals last year.
And now he's here with 58.
58.
We talked about how much a starting 11 would get. How many goals a starting 11 would get?
He gonna have to pass the ball on this team.
12 hat tricks. He had more hat tricks this season than some players had goals. Yeah. Think about that for a second. Division III, All-Ohio. He led Springfield to its best season ever. I mean, it's an obvious.
I mean, if he plays for me, he's passing the ball a little bit. He ain't scoring.
I don't know if he's passing. I mean, he'll do what you want because he's a team player.
He is a team
player. But if
I'm
coaching him, listen, you take the ball, you take us to the promised land. That's all I'm saying about him.
We got to share the wealth around here a little bit because there's going to be some guys on that team like, hey, look, man, he ain't going to be the one getting all the goals here. We share the wealth.
You look at that resume, guys will be humbled real quick.
Well, you know what? And the biggest thing about him and also Lila, they have an opportunity to become high school All-Americans.
Yep.
And that's a very, very big feat. I had the pleasure of coaching one in Spencer Straka at St. Francis. And I'll never forget when I got that email and I made that phone call to Spencer. And I mean, you could just hear the elation. He's got a resume. And I would say this, yes, the goals and the hat tricks are the biggest piece. I don't think people realize how hard that kid worked in the offseason. I think what Toledo Villa did for him over the summer prepared him for this moment that he's had this year. Because, big-time players step up in big-time games. Those 2 goals that he scored in the regional semifinal, I'm sure Andy Kufel probably wants to forget about that, but I'm going to bring it back up again. It's unfortunate to do that. But, I mean, just the concentration, just his focus and just how he was able to kind of get himself loose and just, be composed in some really tough moments. And he was that. And again, I know they did not have the night that they wanted to have against Aurora, who ended up going to a title game and losing to Bishop Watterson last Sunday. But what he did for himself, but also for this program, he elevated this program to a new height. And Springfield has always kind of been the team here. They're right here, and they're starting to get that respect. And Kyle Mortis and guys like Aiden Sloan and Alex Russell and TJ Pappas, if I were to ask him if he wanted to be the player of the year, he said, no, this team is the player of the year, because I thought that he was a guy that got them going, but he also got some other guys going as well, too. So that plays a really, really big piece in this young man's development, and I wish him the best. I think he's going to be a great college soccer player. I think he's going to get better when he starts to play around guys that are going to really, really challenge him. He ain't going to score 58 goals, I'll tell you that.
You say that now. We didn't think it would happen last year. It did.
Well, I don't think anybody did. I mean, at one point, I thought somebody lied on Sidekicks, or not on Sidekicks, but Max Preps. I thought someone lied when he had 33 goals after 10 games. I'm like, that's morbidly impossible. And then I looked at him, like, oh, I guess it is. It's like, man, what is going on over there? So,
congrats to Kyle. Congrats to everybody who made the All-BCSN team. The starting 11 for both the boys and girls will get a gift certificate to Frogtown Johnny's. Thank you to them. Of course, they sponsored the segment. What an amazing season. And of course, being with Francis Stevens every week made it even better. Coach, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. And again, thank you to everybody who, again, to the families. I think this is the most important piece. And I mean, I've enjoyed some of the relationships that I've been able to develop doing this and meeting some people. A really quick story. I was down at the Bowling Green Toledo game, and we knew how that one ended up. So that was tough. But I had a chance to meet the Smucker family for the first time, and I've watched their daughter, Mallory, who's down at Ohio Dominican playing now. She's having a fantastic career. And Audrey, who's a student at BG. That's what you do this for. You do this because you get to get those relationships with those families and those young ladies and those young men that are going out there and doing something that they're so passionate about and they love. And the biggest piece is this: they're representing their school community. I'm an educator. There's nothing more that you can take away from high school athletics. Some people like NFL, Major League, NHL, all this stuff. I'm a high school athletics junkie because I'm an advocate for these kids and being able to see them be successful. If this stuff was around 30 years ago when I was in school, that would have been awesome. But it is just great to do these games night in and night out and to see these kids grow up and then be able to go and step into a really, really big arena where they're starting to play in college and things like that. You would talk about my guy last night, right? I remember watching these games when he was on BCSN because sometimes I couldn't make those games, and now he's playing on a bigger arena on ESPN, getting interceptions and stuff like that. So, again, to these families and all you guys, the coaches and everybody that spends a lot of time, thank you guys for letting us come and be a part of what your school community is, what your environment is, your culture, and those things like that. Thank you guys, and we'll be back at this again next year, man.
Sir,
this is going to be fun.
Doesn't get better than that. Coach Francis Stevens, appreciate everything, Coach.
Hey, thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Tournament Time on BCSN is brought to you by Unison Health and the Mental Health Board of Lucas County, reminding you that it's your time, your choice.